Hello, how you guys doing? It's Gus Tucker here, Financial Freedom Fridays. And I missed you guys. I was traveling last week, and then we had a holiday weekend. I hope you guys had a great time at Labor Day. I was down in Atlanta, and they had a couple different events going on. Anybody from Atlanta on? They had Invest Fest going on down there. 20,000 Black entrepreneurs in one place at the World Congress Center. Can you imagine? 20,000 entrepreneurs in one place. And then I was at another conference. It was called the National Black Business Conference, which was a couple historic organizations got together, something called the National Business League. Look it up. It was started by Booker T. Washington 100 years ago. Then the National Black Chambers of Commerce got together, and it was amazing. And there's a lot of things going on in America right now with entrepreneurship and with Black folks. Entrepreneurship and with Black folks. And not just Black folks in America, but throughout the diaspora. In other words, wherever Black people are located, hey, Kevin in DC, wherever Black folks are located, things are coming together. And I've got some stuff that I'm a part of that I'm going to tell you about later on. But I got to get some approvals and some clearances and stuff, because it's, as a friend of mine says, it's G14 classified. I just can't be telling. I got to get some clearances to be able to tell you about it. So, but I was down in Atlanta, and it made me start thinking about some things. And I just people, you have to own your own business, okay? It doesn't matter what age you are, what you do for quote unquote a living or a career. You got to own something that's yours. I just really encourage you to really consider it, okay, with some of the things we're going to talk about. Owning your own business, okay? While working for somebody, that's great. But work, if you have, and we're going to talk about this in a second. If you're an employee, be an employee and be there at the job being trained to own your own business, okay? Okay, so I'm going to hit the next slide. And we've talked about this, that financial independence, how can it be developed by Black people for Black people? Now, look, I'm not against anybody. I'm not a racist individual, but here's the challenge. Here's the challenge. When you're Black, you know what? Everybody knows it. Have you noticed that? When you walk in a room, people know you're Black already. And in America, that comes with some things. And so one of the things that comes with is typically not equal opportunity. And you can read these numbers right here. The wealth of Black folks in America really hasn't grown. But watch what's going to happen over the next 20 years. There's going to be a huge shift. There's going to be a huge shift. Why? And a big part of it is, one, working together as a group. I see that more and more. I see that more and more. There was a lot of coming together at the conference I was at. There was about 1,100 people there, and there was a lot of collaboration going on, a lot of working together. It's very powerful. And what principles or keys do we need to apply to experience God's promised land? I see a lot of that happening, and I see people being proud to be Black in America. You know, so I just want to challenge you to really take a look at what you see and really get an understanding of your perspective, and know that your perspective isn't the only one. And that's something I had to get with. Okay, let's just say there's a car wreck and there's 4 different corners. If there were 4 different people standing on those 4 different corners and they saw the same wreck, would they really see it the same way? No. Would they be wrong? Would their perspective be wrong? No. But the police or the insurance company would have to get everybody's perspective, plus any cameras or anything else, and then try to piece it all together to see what happened. And we have to do the same thing with our lives, with our businesses, and what we're doing. So get aware of what your perspective is. Everybody's got a worldview. There's a way that you see things. I'm just telling you, I tend to see things from a Judeo-Christian biblical perspective. I don't see the Bible anymore as a religious book. I see it as a guidebook and a government book for how you're supposed to live life from God's perspective. And in my point of view, it's the best and only vantage point. And there are a bunch of verses here you can read. There's principles called be, do, have. We've covered those in the past. We'll talk about them again. Um, but a couple things. One, September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. And it's really a good time to evaluate your insurance needs. I'm a licensed insurance and securities professional. I've been involved in that business for over 20 years. I can help you, but find someone who can help you really evaluate your insurance needs. Why? We're going to be talking about this. Insurance is an asset. What's an asset? An asset is something that can put money in your pocket. The insurance policies I own make me money, tax-free. We're going to talk about that later on in the month. But your insurance policy is an asset if you understand it and treat it correctly. Okay? So September is Life Insurance Awareness Month. Don't be a GoFundMe project for somebody, okay? Fund yourself. Also, estate planning. We do a webinar the fourth Thursday of every month. Fourth Thursday of every month, and we're getting people their estate plans. Why is that? Because if you don't have a plan for your wealth when you pass away, the state you live in has a plan, and it's not going to be the plan you want. Okay? And you're going to have to go through something called probate court. And one of the attorneys we work with says probate is a lawsuit that you take out against yourself for the benefit of other people. Meaning the attorneys, the judges, and everybody else is making money because you're basically, because you lacked doing something, you're basically putting yourself into a lawsuit that you're paying for out of your hard-earned money. That doesn't make any sense. Come to our estate planning webinar, get a free consultation with an attorney, understand why you need, if you're 18 years or older in America, you need an estate plan, or at least some key parts of it, okay? You need to understand it so you can make good decisions, okay? There's the information, it's a Zoom, it's no charge. We get you a free consultation with an attorney. If you decide to move forward, there's a charge, but at a much more reduced rate than anything I've ever seen, okay? Now, let's talk about making money. There's basically 4 ways to make money. And there's a couple books I'm going to suggest. One is called Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. And the second book called Cash Flow Quadrant. When I was doing that, I had my Cash Flow Quadrant book, and I looked, and this was the one that I had signed by Robert Kiyosaki. Okay, and guess what year he signed it in? 1999. It was about 15 or 20 of us, and we did an 8-hour seminar with Robert Kiyosaki and his wife, and there's about 20 people. This is before he had hit. And he signed my book in 1999. Oh, man. How do you earn your income? One, as an employee, you trade your time for money, either hours, salary, or commission. Employee is one way to make money. You trade your time for money, hour, salary, or commission. I have a business, and one of my teammates on my business, he's getting this business going, and he closed his first deal. It wasn't a big deal, it was a small deal. But I said, how many hours would you have had to work at your day job to make the money you did on this deal? He said 45 hours. And this deal took him about an hour and a half, 2 hours. One of these things isn't like the other, right? If you're trading your time for money, guess what? They're not paying you what you're worth. They can't afford to. They go out of business. Self-employed is owning a job that owns you. Now, you'll make more money as an employee probably, but you won't have any time. You have nice cars and a nice house, but you'll never live in them or see it because you'll always be working. Self-employed means if you don't go do the work, it doesn't get done. Okay? Now, you could say it's better than being an employee, but some parts of it, not so much. Then there's business owner. A business owner leads a team that runs a system. Leads a team that runs a system. And what's the system do? Save you time, energy, and money. Because it's organized and it's duplicatable. It's organized, it's duplicatable. And your team can run the system when you're not around. That's what allowed the business owners to have time. The classic one of these that everybody knows is a franchise. Right? I went by a franchise this morning for breakfast because we were running around. We didn't get a chance to really go get groceries, and we were short on some stuff. So we went out, bought some breakfast at one of these franchise places. And trust me, the owner wasn't there that early in the morning, or if at all. What's an investor? An investor invests money in successful business owners and systems. So their money makes money. Okay? That's the 4 ways to make money. How do you make money? Employee, self-employed, business owner, investor. Which one of these folks you think makes the most money and has the best lifestyle? Meaning they can spend their time doing what they want to do and they got enough money to be able to do what they want to do. Which one do you think? Employee, self-employed, business owner, or investor? Who do you think has the best lifestyle? Who do you think? Yeah, you can bet and believe it's either the business owner or the investor for sure. Right? Because you're delegating. There's 2 things you got to do when you're running a business: delegate and automate. Delegate, have somebody else do it, and automate it. Have some kind of machine or system of people or something take care of it for you. Okay? How do you earn your income? One of the things you want to look at on your way to developing financial independence. What type of income do you earn? There's 3 types of income. Okay? The poor and the middle class make earned income. They exchange time for money. So what is that? That's basically being an employee or being self-employed. You trade your time for money, time for money, time for money. Okay? Second type of income is called portfolio income. When people invest in the stock market and buy a stock at $10, they do so in hope of selling it at a higher price in the future. It goes to make portfolio income, also called capital gains. I'm doing something where the guy is rolling over some money from an account into another account. And this one company I work with is giving people right now an 18% bonus on top of what they put in themselves. And they got to keep it in there for a period of time, but this person's going to keep it in there that period of time anyway. So he's getting 18% on top of what he's putting in. Free money. Boom. Because he had some money. So his money just made him what? Some more money. So that's portfolio income, where your investments make you money. Third type of income is passive income. You have a business, real estate, intellectual property like a patent or a software system or something that makes money for you, and you really don't have to be there doing the actual work yourself, and the money still comes in. 3 types of income: earned, portfolio, and passive. Okay? Next thing is cash flow patterns. Okay, there's 3 cash flow patterns. Which one is yours? The cash flow pattern of the poor, a middle class person, or a rich or wealthy person. Our whole goal, one of our goals here, is to change your cash flow pattern. It can always be improved. It can always be improved, but let's figure out where your cash flow pattern is, okay? It's one of the things we help our clients to do. So first is basic financial system. You guys know this: income statement and balance sheet. Income is money coming in, right? MCI used to be a phone company. MCI, money coming in. Expenses is money going out. Expenses is money going out, right? And then a balance sheet is what a lot of times people talk about net worth statement. Your assets, what you own, and liabilities, what you owe. So what's in the liability column? What's a liability? Something that costs you money. What are liabilities that people have? They have credit cards. Credit cards, the interest on them costs them money. You may have a mortgage on your home. I know people say their home is an asset versus a liability, but let me ask you a question. Does your home put money in your checking account every month? The home you live in, does it put money in your checking account every month? Or does it put money over in your asset column every month? No? Then it's a liability. Oh, but it's gaining in value. Yeah, but how do you get the value out? You got to sell the house. You sell the house, you got to live somewhere. Okay? So just in the strictest sense of the word, a home is not, your home you live in is not an asset, it's a liability. These are other kind of personal loans and other things. What are assets? Things that put money in your pocket. Okay? Do you have a business? Do you have rental property? Do you have other kind of business assets that you own that produce money because you have them? Okay? So those are the basic financial statements you're working with. Your income expenses, which shows the profit and loss of your company. And what's your company? Your family is your company. So your income statement shows you the profit and loss of that company. The balance sheet shows you what kind of position you're in, either cash flow wise or asset wise. Assets are things that in a short period of time, you can turn them into cash. If they're not cash, they're near cash. You can turn them into cash. Okay? So any questions about this? You can put them in the chat. Any questions so far? Any comments, questions, comments, questions, comments? I know this isn't the most interactive forum there is, but I want to give you a chance to interact as we can. Okay? Everybody good? All right. So what's the cash value of the poor? Or, as some people say, PO. They can't even afford the OR. They just PO. Okay? So I know y'all have heard that joke before. So what's their income statement look like? Money comes in and money goes out. To expenses. What are the expenses that people pay every month? What are some expenses people pay every month? They pay their rent, right? They pay their cell phone bill, gas, electric, water. You have garbage disposal. Used to be cable. Now it's your internet, your Wi-Fi, food, taxes. Big expense is your taxes. Okay, it's an expense. Car note. You get the feeling? Okay, so the poor person, all their money comes in, and all their money goes out to expenses. Money comes in, money goes out. So why are they working? To pay their bills. Do you think rich people work to pay their bills? No, we'll talk about it when we get there. They have a different mindset about money and what money is for. The poor person, money is to pay their bills. Simple as that. Okay? Now, up from the poor is what? Middle class person. Most middle class people, as a matter of fact, surveys say almost 80% live paycheck to paycheck, but for different reasons. Middle class person can make good money. As a couple, they could be making 100 grand, 200 grand, 300 grand. So the money comes in, right? See that income, money comes in, but where does it go from there? Two places: expenses, all the stuff I just mentioned, plus liabilities. They got a big house, they got a big car, maybe they got a vacation home, or they take big trips, something like that. But it's still a what? Liability. You understand what I'm saying? Good income, you got more expenses and more liabilities. Nice things. Rich Dad Poor Dad calls them doodads, trinkets, stuff, right? I saw this thing. I didn't totally understand it. I didn't get it. From the context, I understood what the guy was saying, but it didn't comprehend. But these two different groups of people were at a bar or a club of some sort, and I guess to prove who's got the most money, they're just pouring the drinks out, just pouring the bottle service out. Like, who does that? Why? It's a liability. It's an expense. You're just pouring it out. I understand you got a lot of money, but if it's going expense to liabilities and expenses, that's the casting pattern of what? A middle class person. A middle class person. So what is the cash flow pattern of the rich? Well, before I show you, what you think it is? When the wealthy person's money comes in, what is their thought process as what the purpose of money is? When a wealthy person gets some money, what's the purpose of that money? Okay, I want to get some feedback from some folk before I answer. I want to hear what you think. For a wealthy person, where do you think their money goes on the screen? And what do you think the wealthy person thinks the purpose of money is? Come on, give me some feedback now. I'm gonna wait a minute. Anybody? There's no wrong answer. Don't be afraid of being. It's no wrong answer per se. Okay? Wealthy people. What's the purpose of money? Purpose of money is that money had babies. No, not children babies, but the money to go have babies. What's that called? Make money. Purpose of money is they have to make money. That's how wealthy people think. So if you're a wealthy person and you're going to have your money make money, what are you going to invest it in? That the poor and the middle class don't invest in. What do you think those things are? What are they called? They're called assets. Okay, so let's look. The wealthy person, do they have expenses? Sure. Do they have liabilities? Sure. But the lion's share of their money is going into what? Developing assets. Developing assets. We're going to be doing some business with a person here next week that's worth several $100 million. And they were telling us about a conversation they had earlier in their life with some people. And these people were owners. They were owners of a particular situation. And he said they were more excited about what they were talking about over here than this business deal they were talking about over here. He said he wanted to really learn what makes business owners tick. And what makes them be alive. You know what makes them be alive? Investing in assets. Investing in assets. How do I get my money to make money from? I want return of my principal, and I want return on my principal. So the wealthy person is looking for, how can I make my money make money? Not spend it all up on expenses and liabilities, but shrink those things down and invest. Now, one of the greatest investors that you all know, this guy's in his 90s, right? What's his name? Out in Omaha, Nebraska, the Oracle from Omaha. What's his name? Warren Buffett. He's lived in the same house for the past 50 years. Now, it's a nice place, but it's no 20, 30, 40, $50 million monstrosity, which he could clearly afford. But that money he would have put it in a house. Guess what? Guess what Warren Buffett did with it? Put it in assets, have it make money for him. That's what wealthy people do. So we've talked about this. What do you do next? Get with the financial professional and figure out what your patterns are. I can help you with it, but get with somebody who's a financial professional because you got to change your patterns of what you're doing with your money. Okay? Last night, I watched a little bit of the Chiefs and the Detroit Lions. Detroit Lions got them, right? Because there were some fundamental patterns that the Chiefs didn't get down. What was the fundamental pattern? Here's the pattern. Drop back, throw ball, and after Mahomes throw ball, what's the other guy supposed to do? Catch ball. Did he catch ball? This one particular guy, not so much. One of them slipped through his hands, and it went to a guy on the other team. He ran it back for a touchdown. It's called a pick six. Another time, same guy threw it to him on a crucial time in the game, and what did he do? Dropped it. So that guy, you know what he's looking to do this week? Change his patterns. You change your patterns, it can change the outcome of the game. More importantly, it changes the outcome of your life. Because this is your life. It's not a dress rehearsal. Okay? Get the books, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and the book Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki. Read them over and over and over again, until the concepts begin to stick in your head. Does that make sense? Then lastly, attend the Purpose Provision Challenge. It's a challenge that I'm hosting at the end of the month. What's it going to help you to do? Get focused on your God-given purpose, experience more confidence and fulfillment as a person, and then one of the most important things, understand how financial provision and all other provision flows from knowing your purpose and knowing why God called you. Okay, so that's what I wanted to share with you today. To look at how do you make money? What kind of income do you have? And then what are your patterns? What are your patterns? Because those patterns have to be changed to really build wealth for our family. Okay? All right. You guys have a good day. Have a good evening. We'll see y'all next Friday. And we'll talk about this a little bit more next time, but we're going to talk about also Life Insurance Awareness Month, why it's important, how you ought to be looking at life insurance, that whole thing. Okay? You guys take care now.